everybody, it's Mrs. Gaylord here. We talked yesterday about main idea, and during today's lesson we're going to review main idea a bit, and then we're also going to move forward and start talking about supporting details. So you are probably going to end up seeing something like this in your reading, in your tests, and probably on the Keystone as well, where you're given a passage and you might be asked, what is the main idea of this paragraph, and or what are the supporting details? How do you figure this out? Well, this is the goal that we are looking at today. By the end of this lesson and by the end of our unit, hopefully everybody should be able to pick out the main idea of a passage and also figure out what those supporting details are as well. So let's talk about the main idea just a little bit more, what the passage is mostly about. To find the main idea of a passage you just read, it is often helpful to finish the following sentence. After reading, I realized that. So what did you realize? What was that big overall idea that you got out of it? That's going to be your main idea for the passage. Sometimes it's useful to first determine the author's purpose for writing. Remember when we talked about author's purpose? There are different reasons for writing. An author could be writing to entertain, to persuade, to inform, or explain, or to describe. For example, if you're reading a passage that describes different tourist sites around Europe, the author's purpose is to describe a European trip. So after reading the passage, you might think, a trip to Europe is full of beautiful sights. That's probably the author's main idea that he's trying to get across to you, the reader. Now let's talk a little bit more about supporting details, because you seem to be doing pretty well on main idea. Sometimes the author does not state the main idea directly, so we have to use the supporting details to come to a conclusion about that main idea. So for instance, what would the main idea be if these were the supporting details? We have, it only takes about 20 minutes, you only need a few ingredients, and this is fun to do with kids. This is interesting. We've got some supporting details, but we don't have everything, do we? What if I told you that the topic of this paragraph is making cookies? Could you put that together with these supporting details to come up with the main idea? Making cookies. It only takes about 20 minutes. You only need a few ingredients. This is fun to do with kids. Making cookies. You're probably thinking to yourself, well, the main idea is that making cookies is probably easy, or making cookies is fun. Either one works. Both work as a main idea for the supporting details under the topic of making cookies. So good job. Now it's your turn. What I'd like you guys to do is fill in the details for the following. So your main idea here is given. Teenagers should be allowed to vote. But those supporting detail boxes are blank. So what I'd like you guys to do is actually pause the recording right here and write down 2 or 3, if possible, reasons why you believe teenagers should be able to vote. And tomorrow during class, we're actually going to use this as an activity. So be sure to keep your notes handy so that when we come to class, we can make a list of why teenagers should be allowed to vote. You guys are going to come up with those supporting details, and then we'll be creating that paragraph. So go ahead and pause the recording right now. Come up with those supporting details. Okay, so let's try looking at a passage. We have here the following passage. Pets are often an important part of people's lives. Different types of animals can be pets, ranging from reptiles to horses. One of the most common pets is a dog. Dogs serve a variety of purposes for humankind. One way dogs serve humans is they are great just for companionship. Many an only child has bonded with his or her Fido, thus having a willing and loyal friend to play with on a daily basis. Additionally, dogs have served humans as work animals, corralling sheep, conquering rats, and guarding the homestead. Finally, dogs also assist people, for example, by leading the blind, alerting the deaf, and alerting epileptics of impending seizures. So let's examine each sentence in the beginning and see what's going on. We start off with pets are often an important part of people's lives. Now ask yourself, is this what the whole paragraph is about? Is the writer telling me that pets are important? A lot of times students will say that the very first sentence is the main idea. But in this case, the answer is no. This can't be the main idea because the rest of the paragraph doesn't really talk about why pets are important, especially general pets. The next sentence says different types of animals can be pets, ranging from reptiles to horses. Is the whole paragraph trying to tell us about pets ranging from reptiles to horses? Did we learn all about cats and snakes and dogs and turtles? The answer here is no, so this cannot be the main idea either. The third sentence says one of the most common pets is a dog. Is the whole paragraph about how common dogs are? Does the paragraph explain to you how long dogs have been around in our history, or how many people have dogs in our country or around the world, or how many countries really even allow dogs to be pets in the household? The answer again is no, so this is not the main idea, but we're getting closer. Look at the next sentence. Dogs serve a variety of purposes for humankind. Does the paragraph tell us about the different purposes dogs serve for humankind? Yes, because the whole rest of the paragraph is telling us about the variety of purposes dogs serve for humankind. So this is the main idea. Take a minute to find those supporting details. Be ready to show these supporting details tomorrow during class. So your job here is to find all of the sentences that support the main idea. In other words, what purposes do dogs serve? Now that we've found that main idea and we know that the rest of the paragraph, is going to talk all about how dogs serve a variety of purposes, you want to go through the paragraph and find what are those purposes. Take a few minutes, again, just pause the recording and see if you can find at least 3 different purposes that dogs serve. And again, we'll be going over this tomorrow during class. Okay, so remember, each passage you read, whether it's 5 sentences or 500 pages, has a main idea. When you are looking for the main idea, ask yourself, why did the author write this passage? What was his purpose? What is the point he or she was trying to make? What is the passage mostly about? After reading this passage, what did I realize? Once you have found the main idea, check it against the passage. The sentences in the passage should support, describe, or explain this idea. These sentences are your supporting details. They are used to make the author's main idea stronger, and if the sentences do not support the main idea, then you probably have the wrong main idea. Look over the sentences again and see what point or idea they are trying to explain. The last thing I would add on the remember slide is that your first sentence is not always your main idea, so make sure you're really asking yourself, what was this whole thing all about? So let's go back. Reread and answer again. What is the main idea of this paragraph? We have any man-made objects that orbit around Earth and have no useful purpose are called orbital debris. This includes not working satellites, rocket bodies, debris created during spacecraft decaying and breakup, and mission-related debris. Mission-related debris consists of the items released during spacecraft operation, solid fuel, rocket fuel, items dropped by people in space, and about 23,000 objects over 4 inches in diameter have been recorded. Over 1/3 are in orbit now. They are tracked regularly by the U.S. Space Command. It is likely that there are more than 100,000 bits of debris between 0.4 and 4 inches in diameter. There are also tens of millions of particles smaller than 0.4 of an inch. Most orbital debris is within 1,250 miles of Earth's surface. Wow! So what do you think the main idea of that was? Do you think it was A, debris orbiting Earth is a hazard to NASA missions? The U.S. Space Command watches space debris? There is a lot of space debris currently orbiting Earth, or the amount of debris orbiting Earth is decreasing? Think about, what was the entire paragraph talking about? What did you have the most supporting detail for? Write down your guess now. Did you guess C? Did you get it right? Yes. Thinking about this, it doesn't say anything about this debris being a hazard, so A is going to be crossed off. Looking at B, the U.S. Space Command watches space debris. While that is one sentence in here, it says they are tracked regularly by Space Command, that's not the main idea, of the whole paragraph. There is a lot of space debris currently orbiting the Earth. This is mentioned quite a few times. We're told 2,300 objects over 4 inches, 100,000 bits of debris, and there are also tens of millions of particles smaller than 0.4 inches. So there are at least 3 sentences that are telling us how much debris is out there. There's nothing in here that tells us that the amount of debris is decreasing. So C is definitely your right answer. Hopefully everybody got that right. So did you get it? If your first impulse is to say no, you didn't get it, think about what confuses you and write that down. Bring your queries to class tomorrow and we'll see if we can get them answered for you. I'll see everybody in class and have a great day.